Hey guys, Cam here from today's iPhone.com, and it's another episode of News Bites. This is obviously only the second episode, so as always, please, your feedback and comments and all that kind of stuff is all welcome down at the bottom. But this week's episode is dedicated entirely to leaks, and there's a very good reason for that. The last few days have seen so many leaks, I guess it's even leakier than the time that Leaky Leakerson decided to eat leek soup with a fork. I think I tried too hard on that one. So I'm going to tackle these leaks back to front. I'm going to start with the most recent ones and go all the way back to the last one, but I'm only going to include the ones from the last 5 days because I'm not kidding you, there have been enough to fill an entire month just in those days. The first one that came out today was an image of the front panel of the next generation iPad, the 9.7-inch Retina version. Now these show basically almost confirm what we've already heard in the past, in that the next full-size iPad rather, is going to take on a lot of the design influences of the iPad mini. So what you can expect is a flat back, a thinner profile, and obviously slimmer bezels around the side, and that's what you can see on the pictures that leaked today. You'll see that the bezels around the sides of the iPad's display are a lot thinner than the ones that you find on current second, third and fourth generation iPads. One thing that really kind of interested me and sparked something of curiosity in my mind when I was watching it was, or not watching it, but seeing them, was that if you look around the backside, did I just say that? You'll see this copper strip going all the way around the outside, and it's connected to two connection points, which are then presumably connected to the motherboard or some sort of chip that controls it. Now, because there's no actual display attached to that, you can only presume that it means that the touch-sensitive layer of the display is actually separate from the display itself. So that means they're continuing with the kind of traditional method of touchscreen sensitivity, unlike the iPhone 5, which has all its touch-sensitive parts inside the actual display itself. So I found that a little bit interesting. Another point I found interesting, and something I wrote about recently, was actually that the frame itself, the bezels rather, aren't as thin as what I was expecting them to be. And if you scale up an iPad mini to the same size as the iPad, you'll notice that the actual difference in size is clear. It's almost twice as thick to the ratio, which means that you're still getting some thumb room there, even if it does have technology that allows it to completely ignore accidental touches. Now, a couple of days ago there was a video published onto YouTube which showed the iPhone 5S, the gold version, compared to the iPhone 5 in black and white, and also the blue shell from the iPhone 5C. Nothing really new here, it's just seeing them all together in one video somehow made it more interesting. Another one that showed up today, I know I said I was going to do these chronologically, but somehow in my photo stream on my iPad, they've kind of gone a bit wrong. That's probably my fault. Anyway, the dummy iPhone 5C images that showed up today were quite interesting because they showed colours slightly different to the ones that we've seen a lot of the time before. Now, there could be a couple of reasons for this. Because these are dummy phones, they're not quite accurate. The fact that the black one's in there kind of solidifies that theory. Let's just presume for a second that these are right, and it would see... we've seen the white and the blue ones and the green ones are virtually the same on here, but what's different is the pink. Instead of being more kind of like a light, bright red, it's very pastel-y, very pink, and there's also a black one there, and the yellow itself is also a little bit orangey. First instinct is to say to ignore those ones because they go against everything we've seen so far, and because they're dummy phones, they're not going to be perfectly accurate when you compare them to the leaked parts, which we're presuming are the real deal. Something else that showed up today was a scratch test. Someone decided to get hold of a champagne gold back for the iPhone 5S and hack at it with some keys and a very dangerous looking knife. What's interesting here is that the keys didn't really do much damage to the gold iPhone at all, but the knife did more damage to the gold iPhone than what the black and the white one did. So I guess the kind of lessons we can learn from this is, if you want a phone that you're going to jangle around with your keys in your handbag or your pocket, what you want is a gold iPhone. But if you're planning on getting involved in gang violence, which I do not recommend, then you want the black or the white one. Yesterday, one video showed all 5 colours of the iPhone 5C all together in one big long happy video. We saw the red, the blue, the white, the green and the yellow. No black to be seen anywhere. 2 days ago, we saw another glimpse at the iPad Mini 2. Second generation iPad Mini, which by all accounts seems to look exactly the same as the first one. The only real difference that we can see on the rear shell is that instead of having the Apple logo stuck on the outside, it's got like a plastic molding that they actually fit inside the back plate. Apart from that, everything is pretty much exactly the same. Now, while we've seen loads and loads of rear shells of the iPhone 5C, we've never actually seen a real one working until a few days ago when we got a glimpse of an image which seemingly shows a bunch of iPhone 5Cs being tested in the Pegatron factory where they're being manufactured and assembled. Basically what they do is they grab a handful of different models and they just make sure that they're all booting up and working properly. And last but not least, those gold ones I mentioned earlier and made a video about earlier, they showed up too, but they're the ones that convinced me that I didn't want the gold iPhone. So that's all the leaks we've had for the last few days. I will do another news bite in a couple of days' time with absolutely no leaks at all, I hope, unless it's something majorly groundbreaking. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm at TIP_Cam on Twitter. If you want to ask me anything about the next devices that are coming out, please feel free. I may not have all the answers, but I will try to answer anything that you ask me. And as always, I will see you again soon.